Hey, welcome to Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'm Lee, and in this video you'll see a review of the WARCRY Rot and Ruin Warband Tome that came in the Heart of Gur box set. So far I've done the unboxing video for the new WARCRY Heart of Gur box set. I've done a video looking at the core book, giving a review and a complete flick through of all the contents, but now it's time to look at the Warband Tome, Rot and Ruin. This is the second book that comes in the box set, and this is going to give you all the information for the two warbands that are included, the Hornsuffer Shoot and the Rotmire Creed, and you're also going to get specific terrain rules for the Gur terrain that's included. So it's keeping with the same nice branding that we've got for this new edition now, and like I said in the other videos, really happy with this. The cover art's fantastic. I love the way they've done it and the style they've gone for, so really nice to have a refresh for WARCRY, coming away from the 8 points to the realm of Gur now, Gnarlwood, and getting this nice new aesthetic. So really happy with that. And on the back we're getting a little photo showing the two new warbands in action with the new terrain, and the book tells us exactly what's included inside, which are the rules, faction specific quests, campaign arcs, and lots more, including background tables and things like that. So let's get started going right through the book. Before we do that though, I'd like to say a huge thank you to this month's sponsors who are making these daily videos possible, and I'll put their links in the comments section below, and if you can check those out, that's a great way to support the channel and help me to keep these videos coming. Altogether we've got 64 pages, and it's 65 if you include the one that's printed on the inside of the back cover. So opening it up, you can see we've got the contents there. We're going to get our introduction to this new environment of Gnarlwood called Flames and Filth. Then we got Rot and Ruin, Clash of Fiends, and the Campaign of Terror. So a lot of this, including the introduction, is pretty much the same but a condensed version of what you're going to get in the core book. So if you already read that, a lot of this is going to repeat itself. This section, for example, is going to be in there. We're going to get some of the same artwork that's in the core book, and even down to this section with the map and the information. So this is certainly not unique to this book. This has been changed a little bit. In the main book we got this on a double page, awesome picture showing the crashed spacecraft. So this is really cool to see this, and maybe an indication of what terrain we can expect to see in some of the future box sets. So that's really cool. I really love that drawing. Great to see it in there, and definitely a hint, I think. Now we're on to the Ravening Ruin, and so we're going to find out more about the setting and how these war bands will fit into it. And then we're going through here again, just background, lots of stuff to read through, so really cool, broken down into the sections to get us into it. And then we're going to go into two sections, one on the Rotmire Creed, one on the Hornsuffer Shoot. So this is really introducing us to these two new warbands now, telling us what they're doing in Gnarlwood and how they fit in with the game. It's got all different information, putrid transformations, and so some real good background there. We're getting quite a few pages. That's 4 pages of reading for each one. Then we've got Hornsuffer Shoot now, so we're going to learn all about those. And there we go. So that's really cool. Nice introduction to the two warbands. Now we're on to the Rot and Ruin section. So this is where we're going to get our photos, brilliant references for painting. We're getting some more of the terrain pics. Again, these aren't unique to this book. These are going to be featured in the core rulebook as well. But this is probably going to be available separately, or maybe not. We'll have to wait and see. And so you're going to find that, you know, the pictures in there are going to relate to both books depending on which you buy. Now, a lot of the terrain will be presented in the photographs on like raised sections, and so that's something I touched on in the previous core book review, where there's not that much height when you look at the terrain on the board. So it's going to be really good, I think, to add it on top of maybe some old ruined buildings in like an Angkor Wat CM Reap style, or add it on some like rocks made out of foam. So yeah, you've got some options there, but I definitely want to bring the height up to match the photography and the artwork that we've seen in both books. So let's have a look here. We've got the models laid out nicely for the Rotmire Creed as well, so really nice references to paint. And here's what I mean about raising that terrain. You want these bridges to be really dramatic and suspended high up, so adding it to a building like this, like they've done like with the ruins, or maybe on some rocks, is really going to help achieve that. Even using some actual old roots or branches and creating some terrain yourself like that, I think will be fantastic. So you do want that height. Here they've done it as well on some rocks, so adding the different levels, and here again, and that's going to make all the difference and transform the battlefield. It's going to make it great if you like playing the Corvus Cabal, giving that extra height. And lots more pictures, so we're getting loads of references. We're seeing all different warbands, mostly these though that are being focused on here, and again seeing how they're using other terrain to elevate and just change the look of the battlefield. But that's probably the most obvious one. Just get some either buildings or some rocks out of foam or whatever and just layer it up like that. Now we're on to Clash of Fiends. So this is where we're going to get into the rules that are specific to these two warbands and also to the terrain. So we're going to get the faction rules, Gnarlwood terrain rules, quests, campaign arcs and background tables. So here we go. They're including this layout that we're familiar with now, the smaller cards for all the fighters and the abilities, and then their reaction at the top. So we've got the Rotmire Creed and the same for the Horns of Hashut. Now we've got the Gnarlwood terrain rules. So this is getting much like Kill Team now, where they're really focusing on the terrain included in this box and then breaking down the special rules for it like they're doing here. And I guess this is what we can expect now from each box set. We're probably not going to get the core rules in future box sets this year, but we are going to get a book like this, again following along with how they're doing Kill Team, that kind of model. So if we get new terrain, we're probably going to get new terrain rules each time, and so that's pretty fun. It's going to keep the game fresh, going to mix it up, and of course you don't have to use the extra special rules. You can stick with the basics and anything works. I think that's one of the good things with Warcry. You can just use any terrain you like, make your own, mix it up, really make it dense on the battlefield, and then yeah, just have fun using the basic rules and the dynamic movement that the game brings to move through and use the terrain to your advantage. But adding in the special rules, I think that's going to be really fun. We got the Gnarl Oaks, so these are going to be brilliant. I love the theme. I think this is great. For me, the terrain has really sold this new edition of Warcry. And then we've got all these little bits broken in from that spacecraft, so I'm hoping that this is going to be more of a feature in future editions. We've got quite a lot of trees going on, so now let's get some more of the broken up craft with all the different branches and vines and rubble around them. I think that'd be awesome. Now in some cases, like with the rib cages, it's just going to tell you these are deadly terrain and obstacles, so you just refer back to the core book then, and that's all the rules you need. Whereas others might have something a bit more specific, like the rope bridges for example, where you can cut the rope. So you know, that's not going to necessarily be in the core book, whereas these rules are. So you are going to need both books for all this to work. That covers the rules for the terrain and the factions. Now we're on to the Campaign of Terror, and this new 2.0 really is focusing on campaigns just like the original, so that's great to see, and that's a big part of the game. There's some really nice additions as well, so check those out in the other book review I did for the core book. But here you're going to find Rotmire Creed quests that are specific to them, Horns of Hashut quests, again only they can go on that one, and then you're going to get a campaign arc, the War of Rot and Ruin. And this is really nice how they've done this artwork here. I think this is great for the campaign tree, and you've got these columns again which we've seen in the core book framing everything. So this is really nice, really good section, really dark and setting the scene for the new environment really well, I think. And there we go, we got the battle matrix, and then we've got the campaign arc battle plan for Raise and Ruin, and then finally the Rotmire Creed and Horns of Hashut background tables. So you've got everything you need for those two factions now. And that brings us to the end of the book. That's the Warband Tome, Rot and Ruin for Warcry, Heart of Ghur. I think they've done a great job with these books. I really love the core book and all the artwork and the photography. Nice to see it replicated in there to the same standard. It feels like good quality. It's certainly not gone down. There was a few downsides to the box set. The dice were poor, and so was the card stock. I didn't like that. I think there was something a little bit off there. It seemed a bit cheaper, not as good, but I don't think they've cut any quality corners with the book. So really happy. These are one of my favourite things from the whole box set actually, so really impressed with the book, and I'm loving the new look of it all and the new setting especially. I'd love to hear what you think about the box set and the books, and I hope this has given you a good idea of what is included in the different books and the box set itself if you haven't picked it up already. And if you're interested in getting a copy, I'll put a link in the description below to Firestorm Games. You can save up to 20% there on all your gaming products, and there's also a link that they've sent me a special code where you can save an additional 5% on any orders placed before the 31st of August this year. So I recommend giving them a go and then putting in that code and save yourself a little bit more money. If you'd like to go and check out the core book review, that's up on the channel, as is the unboxing. And as the week goes on now, I'm going to be working on some deep dives for the 2 warbands that are included. I'm going to get that terrain built as quick as I can and do a video that's specific to the terrain rules so we can have a look at that. And then also I'll get that painted and make a terrain painting video too. So all that's coming really soon. Good chance you're watching this in the future, so all those videos are going to be available right now. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did like it, please hit the like button, subscribe for more videos like this one, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to join me next time on Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'd like to say a huge thank you to my Patreon supporters who make these daily videos possible, and if you're interested in joining the community, it'd be awesome to see you there, and I'll put a link for that in the description down below.